Hey guys, welcome back to another one of our videos. This weekend we are going to be covering the fights coming up. It's going to be UFC Noches to celebrate Mexican Independence Day, and we're going to be having a title match between Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko, which is a rematch. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to cover the last five on the card. Kind of skip over the prelims, unfortunately, and yeah, we're just going to get right into it. So, our first fight coming up, the opener, is Fernando Padilla versus Kyle Nelson. Both these dudes are pretty interesting. Kyle, the last couple fights I've seen of his mostly be going to decision. He's 1-1 in his last two, I believe. And we're going up against Fernando, who, Fernando, he won his last one with a amazing knockout.
Oh, did he?
So, yeah, no, it was a really good KO. And, he has 15 wins, and 12 of those are being finishes. So I feel like, personally, he kind of has I feel like he has more of a threat going into this fight.
Yeah, he was definitely who I was leaning towards for winning the fight. I didn't like watch any videos or anything for them, but just the few things that I've gone over for their records, he just kind of stood out a little more to me.
Yeah, no, and I mean, Kyle's a good fighter as well in his own right. He's just more of a, kind of stand and bang kind of guy. But most of
Uh,
his fights, and also too, he does go to the ground as well. But I just feel like he doesn't have that much power in his hands compared to Fernando.
okay, I got you.
But right now, the odds are kind of showing that right now Fernando is a favorite. But yeah, no, I mean, I feel like that's how the featherweight bout's gonna go. Me personally, I could see it either going to a decision or I see it, going to a finish on Fernando's end. Honestly,
Yeah, it looks like Fernando's kind of got a bit of a reach advantage, so I don't know how he fights, but if he's standing up and stays on the outside, well, that could be good for him.
oh yeah, no, definitely. He's definitely the lankier guy. Kyle's kind of built like a tank, compared to him. He's kind of like
It
the
looks
stock
like it, yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
So they're both pretty big guys for featherweight, in my opinion. Just like height and the way Kyle's kind of stockier. But definitely be an interesting bout, especially to open up the main card.
I think so.
But the next fight coming up, it's a lightweight bout between Daniel Zellber, but I say his last name Zellber,
Yeah.
and versus Christos Gigagos. And so both these guys are pretty interesting as well. Daniel's repping Mexico. Christos repping the U.S. Daniel is 1-1 in the UFC. His last fight was a UD. Christos is 1-3 in the UFC.
Okay, yeah, they're both prospects then.
They're both up and comers in that sense of like, trying to build a name for themselves, trying to get more movement up the card. So it's cool that they're getting a main card spot.
That is good. Yeah. And this card will have a good bit of eyes on it just for what's coming up.
Oh yeah, no, for sure, especially with it being a title fight and everything. Like, I'm sure there's gonna be
Yeah.
a lot of people watching this event. But Daniel, he has 13 wins, one loss. He has 9 finishes. Whereas Christos got a lot of fights. He's 20-10 with 12 finishes. So I feel like he kind of has more experience in that department, and I feel like this might be kind of a step up for Daniel in terms of competition with someone that's seasoned in fighting.
Okay, yeah, so it'll be like a good test for him.
Definitely. And watching Daniel's last fight, it was a UD, but he has really good footwork, really good head movement. He also has really good leg kicks, and he's a the way I've observed him, I view him as kind of like a counter striker overall.
Okay. Well, that would be interesting to watch. What's the other guy's fighting style?
So he's a wrestler, but he also
Oh,
stands and bangs as well. So he kind of has both of those. He's not like to compare it, but he kind of has like I guess the way to like a Michael Chandler kind of thing, where like he has both. But we
um,
haven't actually seen Chandler wrestle in the UFC, so
yeah, more prone to the stand and bang. Okay, so it'll be exciting, is what it sounds like.
yeah, I'm hoping it'll be an exciting bout, especially for these two dudes trying to get some more recognition on their name. We'll move on to the bantamweight bout. We have
Ooh.
Raul Rosas Jr. versus Terrence Mitchell. Do you have anything you want to say about Mr. Raul?
Yeah, what is there to say about Mr. Raul? That last one, not great. I worry for him coming into these, just because that last one, you could feel the lack of experience, not to hate on him too much or nothing, but definitely looking forward to see how he does, because I'm kind of leaning towards Terrence just based off of Raul's last performance, and I don't really know much about Terrence.
So I mean, I feel the same way about Raul, honestly. Like the way Daniel Cormier said it on commentary for his last fight is he looked like a boy fighting a man. You know what I'm saying? Like he looked like a teenager in there in the octagon. And I just hope he improves because his first fight he had a really good tap out, and it's because he was using his grappling and he was trying to get on the guy like a spider monkey. He tried that on his last fight, but obviously that didn't work out too well. And the thing
He
that
got
worries me
gassed
is
so
like,
fast.
oh, he got gas really quick. But the thing that worries me about it as well is like he says that he primarily started out as a striker and he learned grappling later on. But it seems like grappling's his bread and butter because his stand up. Well, I mean, he didn't really showcase it that much, but it wasn't all too great from what we saw in his last couple bouts.
Yeah, honestly, I assumed he was a wrestler just based off of what I've seen.
Yeah, no, it's kind of weird to hear that he primarily started out as a striker.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
interesting.
so I mean, I definitely feel like if he mixes things up, he has the potential to win the fight. Terrence, this is his second fight in the UFC. His last fight, he was fighting Dracus's boy,
Oh yeah.
Cody Saman, I believe his name is. Um, but the thing is with Terrence is, he does have 14 finishes as well. So I mean, and he has a mixture of like knockouts and submissions. So he has different things he can pull out his bag. It's just I don't know how well his chin is. But also I haven't seen any power from Raul that would make me worried about that.
Yeah, I was like, unless he's like, just seeing any kind of decent stand up from him is going to be a surprise for me. So I can't gauge as to whether or not he has the power either. Um, but yeah, I guess we're gonna see.
We definitely will see. Honestly, though, I'm like you. I'm leaning towards Terrence winning this fight. I have no idea how. I feel like honestly, it might go to another decision, like Raul's last one.
Probably,
But
yeah.
I see Terrence taking it.
That's me too.
And so we got the main event, which, in my personal opinion, this is my main event.
Yeah, same.
um, Should fucking love me some Kevin Holland and Jack as well. Jack's a really damn good fighter, but I've been dick riding Kevin forever, so I'll
Same,
happily
so.
say that shit.
Yeah.
But right now, Kevin is a underdog. He's like a slight underdog in the fight, like betting odd wise. But this is number 13 versus number 14. It definitely has the potential to be fight of the night, especially if it goes all three. Both these guys like to stand and bang. Kevin is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Jack also does have some ground game as well, like with some wrestling and things like that. And he does have a couple submissions on his record. So,
Okay.
there's definitely mixed bags on both sides.
Yeah, I definitely can't say that I've seen a lot of Jack. I know that I've watched a fight or two, but I'm saying it's the boy Kevin. I've been watching a lot of his fights, so I definitely know what Kevin is capable of, and he seems like he's just going on a tear right now. So I'm definitely going to lean Kevin on this one, but I'm not underestimating Jack. I'm sure he's going to put up a fight. Definitely more than Michael, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting fight, fun one for sure.
It's definitely going to be a banger. I hope there's going to be, be any form of fireworks with it, one way or another. I am rooting for Kevin though. And
Yeah.
just to give a little bit more credit to Jack, he lost his first two fights, and since then now he's on an 11 fight win streak. So, not to discredit Kev and be like, oh, Kev, you got losses and stuff. But Jack's kind of going on a tear. But Kev also, with having those losses, Kev has a shit ton of experiences.
Yeah.
They were making the comment of, Michael Chiesa was making the joke of him, fighting the younger fighter, where their last fight, Kevin had more fights than Chiesa did overall, like in their fight careers.
Yeah, and that was one of my biggest things, was like Kiesa's whole thing is he's a ground guy for the most part, and Kevin put him down and Darce choked him.
Yeah, no, like Kevin basically just said, okay, well, we'll do your game for a second. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let me show you what your game's about.
That's why it makes me sad about with the Wonder Boy fight where they agreed to not do takedowns. Because if they would have done takedowns, Kev would have won that fight.
Yeah, but it's my boy, bro, Wonder
But
Boy.
they had their little agreement.
It's a
So
gentleman's agreement, and it's one of the best fights ever, bro. That was so sick.
even with a broken hand, dude, Kev was out there throwing shit.
Yeah, dude, the kicks he was blocking and honestly just eating were insane to me. I was like, dude, you just don't stop.
And that's one thing I said about Kevin is like even when he was at 185 going against wrestlers and shit, he wasn't getting finished. He went 3 rounds with Brunson, 3 rounds with Vittori, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and so I mean, he's a hard dude to finish. He's a tough son of a bitch. So it's gonna either go all three or someone's gonna get finished.
Yeah, I agree.
But we'll move on to the main event. The women's flyweight. It's for their championship. It's Alexa Grasso versus number 1 Valentina Shevchenko.
Yeah, the nice rematch right here.
It's going to be a very nice rematch. We got Alexa Grasso 16-3, Valentina 23-4. They're both the same height, both have about the same reach, but they're both very different, unique fighters. I went
Yeah.
back and was watching their first fight, and honestly, like I feel like Alexa Grasso got a lot less credit than she really deserved in that fight because Valentina was winning in my opinion, but Grasso was standing her ground and landing shots. She was actually fighting back. It wasn't like a one-sided beatdown by any means.
For sure, but me being a Valentina fan, I definitely like even in this fight I'm leading Valentina. I will say after going back and watching it again, Alexa just kind of seemed like she was getting the better of most of the actual stand up, at least from the bit that I was watching. But when it got to the ground, Valentina, like I forgot that at one point Valentina had Alexa in a crucifix. She didn't do a whole lot with it, but I was like, dang, Valentina has really got this ground game kind of on lock at the moment. So they definitely had their like Alexa had her place, she was shining. Valentina had her place where she was shining, and it was just a really good back and forth, and until it wasn't.
Like with Grasso, I feel like her stand-up game is very much underestimated because she's a damn good boxer. I think it's primarily like what they train out of at the gym she trains with. And so, and it's the whole thing too. She was training for Valentina to do that spin and to get
Yeah.
that choke in. So I really do feel like this fight's going to be more competitive than people will, some people are giving it credit for. Because I feel like too, it depends on, Valentina's mindset. Her last couple fights before this, in my opinion, some of them were a lot closer than, her previous fights.
Yeah, they were.
Like there was trying to think of the girl she fought where some people were trying to say it could have went the other way. It was against Santos. It was her fight before Grasso. There were some people that
Yeah.
were giving it to Santos on, their scorecards and stuff like that. So, she's been having more mixed performances as of late. Because, most people, when you think of Valentina, you think of just dominating, like destroying,
Typically, yeah, for sure.
I very much think this is going to be not necessarily make or break for Grasso, but basically we're either going to like have a moment where, we're going to cement, the next steps in this title lineage with a new champion and a new era, quote unquote. Or, Valentina's going to get it back and we're going to have a trilogy and see where things go after that.
Yeah, no, I personally think Valentina's gonna get it back. She just has like a kind of like a fire in her eyes that I've seen from this fight week. Um, Not, again, not to take anything away from Alexa. I feel like Valentina, we're gonna get to see that Valentina we've been missing a bit. But we'll see. Either way, I like both of them as champion. It'll be fine. But hopefully Valentina gets it back, and we'll get a trilogy.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely see. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm kind of leaning towards Grasso just because, I just want to kind of see an underdog story, especially for it being, UFC Noches. I want to see an upset there.
No, for sure, yeah. Like, and sometimes it's just good for the division to get a little bit of unclogging at the top.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it'll open up different avenues and things like that because, Valentina could definitely do different things. I think if she loses with the Rose moving up, they could have a little fight.
Ooh, maybe, yeah.
I know Rose would probably get destroyed respectfully, but it'd be a
For
fun
sure.
fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that pretty much wraps up, our comments for UFC Noches, UFC Fight Night. in the T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas. It's gonna be a good fight. If you guys enjoyed this, definitely drop down a like or a comment. If you didn't like it, drop me down a dislike so I know that people don't like us.
Yeah.
And we will see you on the next video.